Start. These first appeals are directed against the judgment and award dated 18/5/2010, passed by Learned Commissioner under the Compensation Act 1923 and Judge, First Labour Court at Nagpur, in application number 20/2006, whereby Learned Commissioner granted compensation at the rate of Rs 3,12,940 with interest to Srimati Lakshmi. First appeal number 1063/2010 is filed by the Central Railway Nagpur, whereas first appeal number 1180/2010 is filed by the claimant for grant of interest from the date of accident and 50% penalty in view of section 4 in bracket A of the Employees Compensation Act 1923. Fact in brief necessary for disposal of appeals are as under. The claimant is the widow of Ranjana. The deceased was an employee of the Central Railway working as a helper under the control and supervision of the Inspector of Works Department, Ajani, in Nagpur Division. As per the contention of the claimant, her husband has gone to Mumbai for official work on 3/8/2004, and while returning to Nagpur by Mumbai Howrah Express on 8/8/2004, he died due to heart attack. The deceased had travelled from Nagpur, Mumbai, Nagpur. Thus, the deceased has sustained the heart attack during the court and in the course of the employment and died due to the said heart attack. As the death of the deceased was caused during and in the course of the employment, she applied for grant of compensation while later dated 15/3/2005. However, the claim of the compensation was rejected by the railway administration. Thus, the claimant is entitled to receive the compensation as the death of the deceased is caused during in the course of the employment. Para. In response to the notice, the railway administration resisted the application moved by the claimant on the ground that the death of the deceased was natural death as he sustained the heart attack while traveling. There is no previous record to show that the deceased was suffering from heart attack ailment and was under stress, and therefore the claimant is not entitled for any compensation. In support of the contentions, the claimant adduced her evidence before Learned Commissioner. The railway administration has also adduced evidence in support of the contentions of the railway administration. Learned Commissioner, after appreciating the evidence adduced by the parties, held that the nature of the work and the hours of the work cause stress to the deceased, and hence his death is caused, and as such the claimant is entitled to receive the compensation on account of the death of her husband. Heard Learned Counsel for the railway administration and Learned Counsel for the claimant. Learned Counsel for the railway administration submitted that employment of the deceased with the railway administration is not disputed. There is no nexus between the cause of the death and nature of the employment of the deceased. The claimant has not adduced any evidence to show that the deceased had sustained heart attack due to the nature of work he was performing while he was returning from Mumbai to Nagpur. No previous medical report is adduced to show that the deceased was having heart ailment as nexus between the nature of work and the death of the deceased itself is not proved. The claimant is not entitled to receive any compensation. Stop.